Welcome to 7.1. We're going to start adding positive and negative numbers. Positive and negative whole numbers are called integers. So place the integers on the number line. So you want to show 0. Let's start with the easy ones, right? Positive 1 is there, 2, 3, 4, positive 5, and then positive 7. Now number lines start at 0, right, and go out in both directions. So next to 0 is negative 1. Here is negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5. That's a very sloppy 5. Negative 6, negative 7, negative 8, and negative 9. Which is the largest? The largest will always be in this direction. We never trick you. It never goes the other way. So 7 is the largest of that list. What is the smallest? Negative 9 is the smallest. The smaller will always be in that direction. Negative 1 million is very small, which is the opposite of 9. The opposite of 9 is negative 9. And so there's negative 9, and positive 9 is what? Over here. This is positive 9, and they're the same distance from 0. They're both 9 units from 0. So if you have $50 in your pocket, but you owe a friend $57, do you really have any money? If you have $50 in your pocket, but you owe a friend $57, how much money do you really have? You have less than 0, right? And we're going to say you have negative $7. All right, two numbers that are the same distance from 0 are called opposites. They're also called additive inverses. Reciprocals were called multiplicative inverses. Let's just go over that. Reciprocals multiply to make 1. All right, and we're going to go over what opposites do, or additive inverses. So find the opposite of 6. It's negative 6. Right? That's the only other number that's 6 units from 0. Notice, do not put an equal sign between them. They are not equal. They are opposites. What's the opposite of negative 4? Positive 4. It works that way. Find a number that's the same distance from 0. As negative 7, there's only one number that's the same distance from 0. 7. They are both 7 units from 0. What's the same distance from 0 as 3.6? Negative 3.6, negative 3 and 6/10. Those are opposites. Those two questions are basically asking the same thing. What's an opposite? What's the number that's the same distance from 0? The inverse property says when you add opposites, you always get 0, right? Negative 1 plus 1 equals 0. So what's 148 plus negative 148? 0. When you add opposites, you get 0. If you have $148, but you owe people $148, you really don't have any money. You just haven't paid it yet. You have 0. So what is x plus the opposite of x? So you can read that as negative x or the opposite of x. Both can be useful, both versions. But x plus the opposite of x must be 0. So if you understand that, this problem is easy, because these two add up to 0. And we know that 0 plus 13 is 13. That's the identity property of addition. If you add 0 to a number, it stays the same. So you're not going to sit here and do a lot of work. Those are opposites. You add opposites, you get 0. So 0 plus negative 11 must be negative 11. They don't have to be next to each other. 7 plus negative 7 is 0. 0 plus 26 is 26. So we're going to draw adding opposites right now. So the first problem we're going to draw is negative 5 plus positive 7. Now one of the things that confuses students is, right, we don't write the positive symbol, right? In between there is an adding symbol. They look exactly the same, but so that is negative 5 plus positive 7. So we're going to write 5 negatives in the first box, 7 positives in any pattern you want. Let's make this one bigger, that you want. And then what would go in the last box? Well, each negative plus the same amount of positives cancel each other out and make 0, right? So 5 negatives plus 5 positives would make 0. So after negative 5 plus positive 5 would be 0. So those cancel each other out, and you get two other extra positives. So the answer to this is positive 2, like that. Let's try this one. So we have 3 positives, positive 3. Again, we don't write the positive symbol. 3 plus negative 7, so 7 negatives. The 3 positives and 3 of the negatives cancel each other out. And what do you have left? You have negative 4. Positive 3 plus negative 7 is negative 4. That's how it works. It's all based on the inverse property of addition. So just write down what problem that is. Well, it's positive 4 plus negative 5. And we put these parentheses. We don't like to put symbols next to each other like that. We don't put we always do something to prevent that from happening. All right, but that's 4 plus negative 5. And so 4 positives cancel out 4 of the negatives, and we get negative 1. What problem is that? Well, it's negative 2 plus positive 6. And so it must be positive 4. That's what's going on. So now we're going to take the boxes away. So what's negative 9 plus 2? It is negative 7. Now, if you still need to draw it out, here's a shortcut way. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9 negatives, 2 positives. What's left? Negative 7. 7 plus negative 4 is positive 3. There are 7 positives, 4 negatives, and so you get positive 3. Negative 14 plus 19 is positive 5. Well, the way to do this is you realize that negative 14 plus positive 14 would be 0. So you have 5 extra positives. 38 plus negative 21, right? 21 plus negative 21 would be 0. So there must be 17 extra positives there. Fred had $68 in his pocket, but owed his friend 14. Now, 68, he had 68, so having money is a positive thing, and owing money is a negative thing. So we're adding 68 plus negative 14. Now, as the numbers get bigger, you may not be able to do it in your head. You come over to the side, you do some side work, it's called, and you realize that he does have money. He can pay his friend back $14, and he still have 54. So he's positive 54. Football team lost 3 yards, so that's negative, on the first play, then added 8 back. That's what they're trying to show here. Football team lost 3 yards. They were negative 3. Then they gained 8 back. How many total yards did they gain? Well, negative 3 plus positive 8 is positive 5. And since it's a word problem, we'll put a word on it, right? We put a dollar symbol on the last one. So now we're going to do it with decimals. So it's the same concept, right? Negative 5 plus positive 5 would be 0. So we have negative 5 plus positive 6 in 1900ths. So again, we can do a little side work here and realize that this must be positive 1 in 1900ths, or 1.19. Again, so we have 7.9 plus negative 2. Now we're going to line up our decimal points, right? The 2 goes under the 7 because the 2 is a whole number, not a decimal. And we have positive 5.9. In both these cases, we had more of the positives, so the answer was positive, right? You get 7.9 versus for positives and only 2 of the negatives. Now this time we have more of the negatives, right? So we know the answer is going to be negative. When we do the side work here, right, if you're going to subtract 2 numbers, you're going to put the bigger one up top, the one with the bigger absolute value in this case. 8.2 is the absolute value of negative 8.2, and you're going to subtract them. This one has a little borrowing, which makes it harder to do in your head. And so this is negative 3.9, right? There are 3.9 extra negatives there. This one also is going to be negative. And 9 minus 3.4. Now notice how both of these had borrowing in it, and it was forcing you to do some side work just so you'd see that. Borrowing tends to cause things to be harder to be done in their head. It's easier to write things down once there's borrowing in it, I'd say. So it's negative or regrouping. Negative 5.6. All right, so let's practice. The additive inverse of negative 12 is 12. Its opposite. This problem is now easy because that's 0, and so this is 8. There are 13 extra negatives there. There are 7 extra positives there. Now with decimals, right? 13.6 minus 12 is 1.6. So this is negative 1.6, or negative 1 6/10. This next one's going to be positive because there's more of the positives. Decimal point goes straight down, and it's positive 16.1 is what I'm getting. 16 1/10. And Adam has 4 negatively charged, four positively charged protons. I read that wrong because protons are positively charged. So 4 positively charged protons and 4 negatively charged electrons. What is the total charge of the atom? This is 0. This is in the standards. That's why it's in the practice here. It's just showing you what's the name of the property? The inverse property of addition. Stuart has $46.50 in the bank, but owed his friend $50.75. So he has $46.50. He's negative $50.75. Right, so this answer, he is less than 0, right? And so we're going to find out how much less than 0 he has by subtracting. And when you subtract, the bigger absolute value goes up top. And I'm saying he's negative $4.25, it looks like to me. A football team lost 12 yards on their first play, then gained 12 yards back. Yeah, this is add up to 0. What's the name of that property? It's the inverse property within the name of the lesson, inverse property of addition. All right. We're adding opposites or additive inverses to get 0. Good luck with the homework.